Hey guys, it's the Wandering Wizard here, but those of you in ArcheAge might know me as Kenichi Sawa, former leader of Order of Goddess, which I was very proud of, on Nayama and later Kraken. Today's video is going to be a little different, and I'm going to have to apologize because I'm going to try and respond to a lot of things in just one video. This video will be about my experience with ArcheAge and why I left. Also, why it is I'm back now hooked again. Spoiler alert, it has a lot to do with Gamigo inviting me back. Yeah, let's get into it. My adventure started a few weeks ago when Gamigo emailed me about coming back to the Check Out the Garden update. I admit I was very hesitant about coming back, but later realized why not. Let's give this another shot. I have to admit here though that I was a little bit interested in what Gamigo has been up to since the acquisition of Tryon. So I headed on over to the Gamigo page. Wait, why does it still say Tryon? And promptly started to download the game. While doing so, I started to reach out to already existing communities in hopes of getting a better, more down-to-earth picture of what it means to be an ArcheAge player in 2020. While reaching out to communities, I was also looking into streamers that were still making content for ArcheAge. Surprising enough, a lot of streamers acted just like a lot of old school ArcheAge players do. Standoffish, distant, just very coarse. While confused, I figured it might have to do with the constant trolling one gets from members of the community when you stream content in an open PvP zone, aka stream sniping, which ran rampant in my earlier years as a content creator for ArcheAge, and I assume still plays a big factor in how people enjoy ArcheAge these days. Still, I was only able to find one or two content creators that were truly kind and wanted to show me the game that they love so very much. And this is going to seem a little off, but let me just respond to the streamers that asked me how to grow their community in ArcheAge. Still, I myself am still growing and don't consider myself an influencer at all. That word even just seems weird to me just saying out loud. But be true to yourself, be kind, be inclusive, and most of all, don't be dismissive. I was really hurt by some of the reactions from the streamers I reached out to, who felt like their time was way more important than anyone in their chats, which was really disturbing, and I hope someday down the line they realize the error of their ways. You can tell the good streamers though, because they were excited to explain the game that they love so very much, and actually invested time to research the game and get involved with the actual community of ArcheAge, not a closed circle of like-minded individuals that subscribe to their way of thinking, but the players that were currently enjoying the content in ArcheAge. I say all of this just to preference that there is a lot of negativity out on YouTube right now, which seems to give vague overviews of the content, or flat out saying that they haven't played the game and just are optimistic about what's going on right now, or not optimistic about what's going on right now. And they don't give constructive criticism on how they can better improve the game. Instead, they jump on this hype train that they assume will get them views. I say this as someone who is frustrated by the current situation of ArcheAge, because I've always hoped for better even after I left the game scene. As a content creator, we have the responsibility to lead our viewers in the right direction. As weird as it is to call myself an influencer, we have to best support us as a consumer. And I say consumer because we should always uplift pro-consumer tactics and completely disown anti-consumer practices, which is why I originally left ArcheAge to begin with. Things like fresh start servers, $150 pay-to-win packs, and pay-to-win items in-game that encourage players to pay real money to get further in the game quicker are reasons why I left. Also, people patroning up 15, 20 different accounts to then get labor was just something I could never do or afford, which gave them an advantage that none of us who couldn't afford that way of life had an opportunity to do, which is a different form of pay to win I want to get into later in the video. Before leaving Arcade a few years ago, progression was almost next to impossible. Content was locked behind the guild that had the most geared players, and swiping your credit card was legit the best way to get things done in Arcade. I found myself logging in and mostly roaming around trying to PvP with little more to do than run larders from Rockholla every few days for gold, which I remember using immediately on crafting items to hopefully get my mats to push my gear just a little bit forward towards end goal. Gear progression was the worst, and Wales pretty much owned the best gear in the game and were next to invincible due to the vast disparity in gear progression from pay to win players versus a non-play to win player. For instance, I watched someone who ran 10 patron accounts demolish a player in open world PvP while he was switching between chars to do so. But it wasn't all that bad. Pre-Tryon departure slowly fell into bad state over time, and it was very slow at that. Getting back on my feet in the Big Apple was one of the main reasons why I couldn't justify paying for the monthly sub, and why I didn't want to stick around when I knew it was going to be years before I got the gear that I needed. Coming back to the game in 2020, I bought the gold edition pack with my own money and proceeded to immerse myself in the game. I joined a guild called SGX on Unchained and began to run the same quests I used to years ago. The server that I joined was Ruiner. However, the gear progression was faster. Leveling was faster. I found myself blowing through green quests faster than I ever did as I made my way to 30. However, curiosity got the best of me and I moved back to my old character on Legacy. In a few weeks' time, I already ran up a hero weapon past my top previous weapon, and I'm now hitting like a ton of bricks in Hero East. Gear progression now feels more fluent, and every day I'm pushing the bar forward. Am I winning in one day? No. But I am making sizable pushes forward that is different and loads better than the previous system. This in turn, with joining the guild Radical Dreamers on the Aria server, brought forth fun activities, tons of fun activities, gear theory, crafting, and progression faster than I have seen before. I'm actually having a ton of fun. Major raids that I have never seen before, but were in the game locked behind huge guilds, are now instants, and everything seems to be in reach. Fighting the first 5% of Red Dragon in a car was super fun. Who the heck knew? The new Archpass system on Unchained is awesome and gives you neat gem rewards at the end of your monthly journey, like a mount for instance. Mounts are also now craftable, and overall it seems like the game wants you to just have fun. I say this fully aware that there are still issues I hope Gamigo are aware of, like the hacked accounts in dungeons spawning boats for money. Yeah, I'm looking at you, hacker. I see you. Also on Legacy, you still have people running multiple accounts to gain labor. While you say you can't share labor across accounts, yes, this is true, but you can share tasks like crafting copper bricks, selling them, and pushing gold to your main. Arcade isn't without its bumps, but with the changes that were made so far and Gamigo's willingness to make changes that will ensure they can stay around for the foreseeable future, regardless of what others say, I am confident to put my trust and money where my mouth is. Swallow my pride and my rant video I made years ago and give Gamigo and Arcade another try. Yes, I know about the stumbles Gamigo made with Unchained, and I'll just say this. The previous publisher pushed this game in the wrong direction for years. Gamigo just got here. Let's give them some leeway to make mistakes on the premise that they will listen to the community and make an effort to course correct. Are they going to listen to everything we put forth? No, and they shouldn't have to. Only Gamigo knows what they need to do to remain financially viable in the years to come. But I can still remain hopeful. I say this because I know I'm going to put myself front and center no matter where this leads. I'm passionate. I am very passionate to see the community I love for so many years continue to play the game we all love and keep coming back to. Because let's be real here, there isn't anything out there that can do what ArcheAge does. Period. Okay, let's get into what we all have been waiting for. My time in the Garden PTU. I want to also say here that I was given a silver pack by Gamigo. Thank you so much, Gamigo, for the game. I will use this free pack to explore the Fresh Start server once it goes live today as you're watching this. And please know this has not and will not change my views. They are still my own 100%, and I will always remain critical, especially towards the things I love the most. The Garden is an instance area in the navel of the world located in Western Haram. The zone is at the top left. Once you enter the zone, you are met with this huge pit. You can fall down to reach to the bottom, or take the boring stairs. To each his own, I would say. At the bottom, you are met with a single door in which you can take, given you have the gear score to do so, and the previous quest done to the new area. Looking at the map reveals this new area is just a small corner of the overall instance zone. With excitement, there are new zones that will be added at a later date, I would only assume. In this area, mobs have unique buffs that gives weakness to certain weapon types and strength towards certain gear types, i.e. there are mobs weak against slashing weapons and do less damage to leather, etc, etc. These mobs during testing in the full T5 Hiram gear were hard to kill. You are for sure going to need a team going in. The zone also has a quest that gives you points for killing mobs. You can only have a group of up to 5 players. Past that, you will not be able to collect points, and if you die at all, you will lose a substantial amount of points. So staying alive in this zone means everything. Do note that you can also craft a pot called the Fairies Retribution, I can't remember the exact name, that will help you maintain your points during PvP time. Collecting flowers and fishing also goes towards a point accumulation, and the rewards at the end of the time for the day are Hiram Scrolls, the new Hiram Scrolls, and infusions needed to progress your gear. These scrolls, I should mention, can only be obtained in the Garden. Collecting flowers and other things like mats from fishing will be used for crafting Hiram Scrolls and pots at the specialty Fairy Workbench located in Delphinaz Mirage. Each flower can be found around the map in different zones. Crimson Petunia can be found on the top left of the map, while Indigo Peon or Peony can't say the word, can be found in the middle of the map in Circle of Authority. Also, Silver Lily is anywhere there is snow. Corrupted Anthelon raids are something to look forward to in the new zone, with new storyline, which by the looks of it is some kind of invasion into the Fairylands by unknown enemies, from what I can gather from NPC chatter. Overall, you are getting an introduction to a bit of content with promise of much more to come in future Garden expansions. Here are the community's thoughts from what I could gather during my time playing Unchained and Legacy. After the dive into the new Garden PTU, some say that the max gear progression is only 1% difference. Keep in mind that max gems were not available during the time of the PTS testing. Arch Pass needs to be reworked in a way that garners more incentives to buy into premium Arch Passes like costumes and XP pots, to name a few. Communication between the developer and the community needs to be bridged. There seems to be a huge gap in communication. There is a longing for video conferences akin to the Tryon days making a return. Whales on Legacy feel as though that they carry the weight of ArcheAge's income under Gamigo and feel as though the new content coming out might not hold them to the game. However, it's good to note that they still remain optimistic about the game overall. Some are still upset over the mishaps in the Unchained launch and are upset that a promise that was given to them upon purchasing paid DLC was broken. Some are okay with the low cost of entry into the new expansion, however some feel like they shouldn't even pay $1. The community still remains torn, however, and it feels that proper communication via video streams mentioned before could be what alleviates a lot of the issues going on. Moving over to my time with the community managers, I was able to talk briefly with IRCheese as she stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning, selflessly passing out gear to players in front of the garden gate so that they could join in and test out the garden expansion. Seeing this made me happy because both IRCheese and Cosmos were there until late in the night, helping players get their gear and the things that they needed, like mounts, etc., so they can enjoy their time at the PTS. I really enjoyed seeing that. Cosmo, another community manager, ended up popping into one of my streams. Also, if you'd like to watch one of my streams, you can check out the link in the description below. Yeah, shameless plug, I know. Cosmo expressed, unofficially I might add, how he sees the community and his willingness to communicate more. These two are excellent community managers, and I'm grateful they took the time out of their day to help me navigate the new update. Cosmo went on to express his longing to be more part of communication towards the community and to possibly look into ways of getting that done. Overall, I have the utmost faith in Cosmo and IRCheese to bring forth the change that is needed with Gamigo and the community so that we can dive into the garden update with nothing but fun. I remain hopeful for the game as well. I've remained dedicated to giving you guys the unfiltered truth so that you can make your decision as you see fit as the days roll by. I'll continue to report on things and changes as they happen, whether good or bad, and I look forward to covering ArcheAge for you guys. But I still can't get over, like a shark in the water that smells blood, content creators near and far flocking to report on ArcheAge with half-truths and short research. And that is not fair for a company that probably took a huge financial hit in the acquisition of ArcheAge and now the restructuring and continued content push. While I'm not the voice that the community wants or needs for that matter, I will be the voice of the people going forward as we wade through these gardens together. I take solace in the fact that per unofficial statements from the community manager, we won't be alone. Thank you, Cosmo, for your time, and thank you all for staying this long to hear me out. My name is The Wandering Wizard, and this has been a truthful look into the ArcheAge as it stands today. Now have an amazing day. Make sure you hit that sub button if you enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the gardens. Once I leveled enough to enter them, that is. Peace!